And now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akuga as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
After several years of armed militancy in the Niger Delta and a hard-won but fragile peace, another round of serious agitation is underway in the region. This time, it is neither about the busting of oil pipelines nor the abduction of hostages for ransom. It is rather about the people's rejection of perceived unfairness and inequities in the distribution of the nation's oil wealth, which is generated from their communities. Recently, leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, Chief Edwin Clark, gave vent to the renewed clamor for economic justice with a demand that a sizable share of about 50 oil mining leases that will expire by next year be allocated to Niger Deltans and Niger Delta states. In specific terms, the Niger Delta leader and elder statesman called on the federal government to, as a matter of strategic priority, give indigenous players in the oil industry the right of first refusal in the renewal and award of new oil licenses. Chief Edwin Clark's position is a reiteration of a long-standing grouse over perceived exclusion of Niger Deltans in the award of oil licenses in the country, despite being the direct victims of harmful environmental and health impacts of crude oil exploration in their communities.
Most of the oil is in the Niger Delta. And for us to be suffering, to be languishing in poverty, is unimaginable. It's indeed scandalous. For instance, I was at home. Chiefs, traditional rulers from Ugele, from all the area there, came to me that Shell was now leaving the area and Shell has sold most of the oil or leased to other people, led to other people. I investigated and it was true. Another one recently was at Odidi in the Escravos. Shell was leaving Odidi. Instead of giving first refusal to the Niger people, Niger Delta people, they arranged with someone from Anambra, I think, Okija, to take over that oil. And when the man found out that he could not do it without the assistance of the natives, he went into bargain with them, arrangement with them. And he agreed to give them 5% of the equity. With that, he was able to get through his papers. But today, the people are demonstrating that the man has deceived them. So why should Shell, Chevron, Adip, etc. should be selling our oil to people outside the Niger Delta without giving them first refusal? They imagine that since they impoverish us, we have no money to take over this oil. It's very, very painful.
Yes.
Now we understand 50 of these oil blocks will soon have their licenses expired by 2019. And we do hope that people in the Niger Delta who are the owners of this oil will be given the right of first refusal. And if they have no money, government has a duty to see that the people are not left out.
From the Department of Petroleum Resources, out of the 49 existing oil prospecting licenses, OPLs, at that time, only Monipulo and Malabu Oil were wholly owned and operated by Niger Deltans, whose presence in the ownership and operation list of marginal oil fields was equally far from the people's expectations. Over the years, Niger Deltans have maintained that their exclusion from the vast proceeds of the black gold is designed to perpetuate poverty and underdevelopment in their beleaguered communities. Some concerned Niger Deltans are quick to accuse past military regimes of corrupting the system by awarding oil licenses to friends, associates, and relatives without due regard for experience, technical expertise, and proven records. Rising to the occasion, the government of President Olusegun Obasanjo, for the first time in 2002, attempted to introduce transparency in the system with an open bidding and competitive process. His government also introduced the Nigerian Extractive Industries and Transparency Initiative, NEITI, to act as an oversight and audit agency, but eventually failed to meet the expectations of the Niger Deltans and other Nigerians with regards to transparency and equity in the award of oil licenses. The fallout of indiscreet awards of oil licenses over the years has been the ascendancy of some Shylock operators of oil blocks in the oil fields of the Niger Delta, whose major preoccupation is to rake in millions of petrodollars and leave the communities to their fate. This is the plight of communities in OML 25, which lies between the Santa Barbara River and the St. Bartholomew River in the eastern Niger Delta. OML 25 was acquired by Shell Petroleum Development Company SPDC in 1980 and was put up for sale in 2014 as part of Shell's divestment policy at the time. The attempt to co-opt a new operator was immediately resisted by Belema community, which alleges gross neglect of corporate social responsibility, divide and rule, and underdevelopment by the Anglo-Dutch oil giant Shell.
XPDC has totally failed the Kola people, not just the Ofoyama, Belema, the entire Kola people. They don't impact on the people. They only see individuals that are not going well with the community. They will empower those people to come and cause disunity and cause rancor, crisis. We should kill ourselves for them to do their business, have their money and walk away. So on that note, we said we don't want XPDC again.
Shell's General Manager External Relations, Igo Welly, denies Belema community allegations against Shell and says Shell is not guilty of divide and rule.
Time I hear people say SPDC is dividing the communities to rule them, I actually sit down and say, I wish everybody can really see that. Most times we spend time trying to say, please can you come together so that we can actually help to develop your communities. As I speak, we have 13 billion naira in community GMOU accounts in the Niger Delta. It's not in the north, it's not in the southwest. And the efforts I'm making with my team on a daily basis is how to get community stakeholders and mentoring NGOs we've appointed to help them to use that money to really create value in the communities. Speaking about Belema.
Yes, I want to be specific.
Yeah, speaking about Belema, over the years, we've had our social investment programs in Belema. We actually have a GMOU now ready for deployment, but we don't have the enabling environment to deploy.
In exercising their right to an existence, members of Belema community have decided to grant social license to Belema Oil Producing Limited, which in its estimation has done well for neighboring Kula community in OML 55. The position of the distraught Belema community is not without basis. Belema Oil acquired OML 55 in nearby Kula Kingdom from Chevron in 2013 and kicked off with an employment of over 500 youths. It is on record that within the brief period of its exploration activities, Belema Oil has brought succor to its largely depressed host communities and has rekindled hopes of an assured future. To the relief of the communities, the Indigenous Oil Exploration and Production Company owned by a son of the soil has provided potable drinking water and healthcare facilities.
We are in Kula town now and we have potable water here. I've tasted of it. They brought me to the treatment plant for the water and they say, the people of this community say this was brought to them by an indigenous oil firm, Belema Oil.
To boost educational empowerment for the youths, Belema Oil in January this year rolled out a scholarship scheme worth over 100 million naira for post-primary, graduate and undergraduate students in its host communities.
I just want to thank Belema Oil Company for giving us this award today. My promise is to read hard and be like him one day.
The previous oil company that has been there has actually failed us. They failed the community, they failed each and every one of us. But thanks to God for giving us a great company, an indigenous company like Belema Oil, who has actually given us our benefit as students, as young scholars.
I'm a student of Uniport, and as a matter of fact, in our school, if you don't pay school fees, that means you are no longer a student for that academic section. And with this scholarships award that he has given to us, most of us will be able to pay our school fees.
I'm very grateful to Belema Oil. You know, it came at the right time. I never expected it. I just received a text message about 2 days ago to come for this scholarship award and presentation of checks. You know, it came at the right time. I want to commend Belema Oil for this good corporate social responsibility. Given the number of years, the very short period of operations of Belema Oil, they've been able to carry their host communities along. They've carried out infrastructural developments in their various host communities, and that's very commendable.
This is the first of many they're doing, and NNPC is supporting them all the way to make the lives of our host communities better and to give them a better livelihood.
According to Jack Rich Teng, president of Belema Oil, the annual scholarship grants is to enable beneficiaries to study at home and abroad to create the much-needed capacity development for effective participation in the oil and gas industry.
Basically, the Belema Oil model is all about making sure that the local communities where we operate and competent Niger Deltans are given technical opportunities to showcase their competencies, such as alliance with technical competent companies that provide specialized type of jobs where they can partner with them and begin to provide those services. We also make sure that we create strategic capacity development through training for the local communities, vendors that provides technical services for us. We also advise them to train a lot of locals, which is going on pretty well today. We have also awarded scholarship like you're seeing today. We also believe that some of those who want to go into some type of businesses are supported through our scheme. They are given grants to be able to go into those businesses, and also to making sure that we go into full hydrocarbon value creation chain.
Desirous of having this gesture replicated in their area, the people of Belema community have maintained that it is either Belema Oil or no other investor should be granted license to operate OML 25.
We are sick. We are tired of the unfavorable and slavery operations of SPDC in our land. We insist that OML 25 should be divested to an indigenous company, which we have given our social license. That indigenous company is no other company than Belema Oil Limited. We reiterate our appeal to the federal government to prevail on share to peacefully divest OML 25 to Belema Oil for normal oil exploration and production to resume in the area. We strongly believe that if Belema Oil takes over the operation of OML 25, our fortune will be turned around economically, socially, and otherwise. We have seen the laudable development strides of Belema Oil in the host community of OML 55, where it is currently operating. Belema Oil has placed the host community of OML 55 on the fast lane of development and wealth creation. We have seen how Belema Oil has improved the living conditions of the host communities of OML 55 through its world-class model in less than 2 years of its operation in the area. You can see pipeline water running. You can see road construction going on. You can see other developmental plans on ground for 2 years. We are convinced that if Belema flow station OML 25 is given to Belema Oil. This will replicate the same gesture in our community. We want to plead with the federal government to please ask SPDC to divest.
SPDC should leave us alone.
This probably explains why they have decided to occupy the Belema flow station for several months since last year.
I'm standing here now on the platform, the Belema Oil Flow Station, which is in Kula community. It's just right behind me. As a matter of fact, it's no longer operational because women from this community all came here and had the flow station shut down. They are insisting that they are not happy with the activities of the company that manages the Belema flow station. That will be Shell SPDC. And they are saying that Shell has had its time here managing this flow station, and it was time for Shell to give way to another operator.
This company, Nigerian company, not a Nigerian company, the managing director or chairman of that company come from that area, Belema. He's a native. In fact, he's operating a similar oil field, very close to that very one. And his home is in that very place. But Shell prefers giving it out to another Nigerian from Southwest. And we said, no. This young man is successfully operating one already in the area. Why not give him the second one? That's the problem we have today. So, the people petition to bandits. They know we have been responsible for preventing pipelines from being vandalized, maintaining peace in the area. So they petitioned us. I wrote a letter to Mr. Vice President, who responded very effectively. And we are doing that when we've been told that the Minister of State Petroleum was going to have another meeting with the people and with the leaders of the area. What happened? The people who were to come from Belema in River State, the government and Shell want those people to pay their own fare to Abuja. Instead of even having this meeting on the site or in Port Harcourt, they are inviting these people to come to all the way to Abuja. The people said they have no money to pay transport. Rather would sit on the oil field. So they have been sitting in the oil in the place for the past 1 year. Government is losing money. I'm surprised that government is not worried that there is an oil field which has been producing today for almost 1 year now. The people have problem with government, and government is doing nothing. Perhaps we have so much crude oil now, we don't care what happens to others. That is the position at the moment. So, all we are saying is that give that place to Belema, to the company which is operating the one very close to it, which has been doing all sorts of social work development in the area.
We are appealing to the president to stop the manipulations that NNPC or the minister of whatever minister that is in charge is doing, and let indigenous people manage this oil, the oil well we are talking about. Although we know that in the presidency, some people, we know the secret of the presidency. Right from June 12 struggle that I was involved, we know that sometimes when sensitive issues are being discussed, the officials around the president will turn the TV station and put Cartoon Network for this president to watch. Instead of the president to get information and move at this and that, it is only in Nigeria officials, aides of the president, when they know that sensitive issues that people will now make the president take decisions that are popular, They will just tell the president, hello sir, hey, madam want to see you sir. So the moment the president turn like this, they turn the TV station to Cartoon Network. President sir, the cartoon children are very important. So because of that, some of our presidents don't even know some of the complaints of the people. But what we are saying that the president, our mothers are demonstrating. They are the mothers of Ijola, Niger Delta. They are demonstrating. They are not violent. Listening to their cry, and as like we are insisting, there is no way Belema Oil will not operate in that locality.
Till date, Belema Flow Station, which produces about 42,000 barrels of oil per day, remains short as a result of conflicting interest. But the sad reality is that both the federal government and the Rivers State government, as well as host communities, have all lost significant revenues accruing from the flow station.
The facts are very clear. If you are getting about 45,000 barrels per day from this community, that translates to about $3.1 million. That converts to about 1.2 billion naira a day. From this community, why would you not do something to take care of the people of the community? That is the crux of the matter.
Shutting down the flow station will definitely reduce, the quantum of oil produced, from this area. You know that the quantum mainly is from the Niger Delta area. So with this closure of, flow station, you'll find out that, the minimum, barrel per day would definitely, go down. We are hitting about, 2 million barrel, in recent time. But with this, it will surely go down. And if it goes down, that will also, deplete, the revenue, we get from oil. And you know that Nigeria solely depend on oil, revenue from oil for, to finance development. So definitely, if continue for a very long time, it means that federal government will begin to, feel the effect. The state government will begin to also feel the effect. The local government will also, feel the effect, because the amount of money that will be available, for these tiers of government, to finance development in their area will surely go down.
Meanwhile, the general perception is that the federal government's refusal to accede to the demands of Belema community is part of a grand design to deny indigenous Niger Deltans equal participation in the oil and gas industry. It is important to note that the perceived exclusion of the Niger Deltans from the economic gains of the hydrocarbon industry is in spite of the numerous health challenges they are faced with in the course of oil exploration in the region. Over the years, constant exposure to chemicals contained in the oil drilling activities has increased the risk of infertility, diarrhea, cancer, and mercury poisoning, while the continued flaring of gas has been associated with several infectious diseases. This is in addition to massive environmental pollution that has led to food insecurity in the region. The combined effects of these developments have been a steady increase in poverty, conflicts, and underdevelopment. In trying to address these rather disturbing issues, President Buhari had met with the region's leaders in November 2016, where a 16-point agenda for sustainable peace and development was presented to the federal government. Some of the demands include the setting up of modular refineries, allocation of oil blocks to the communities and indigenous investors, relocation of oil companies to the Niger Delta, as well as the establishment of a joint negotiating team to explore ways of fast-tracking peace process in the Niger Delta. Sadly, however, most of the demands have not been met, creating an atmosphere of uncertainty about the region's future.
It was the VP, in his acting capacity as Mr. President, who went to Yenagua as the instance of Pandos, Pan Niger Delta Forum. I'm the leader. He went there and announced to the people at the town hall that the illegal refineries being operated by the youth and some men are very dangerous to health, and they are affecting the economy of the country. And the modular refineries will be established to replace these illegal refineries. And government will do something to see that the youth were not left out. Today we are hearing all sorts of languages, particularly by the Minister of State Petroleum. The whole thing is being commercialized. The people are not consulted. Same with marginal oil field. What is wrong? Are we not Nigerians? Are we second-class citizens in our own country?
The acting president, Pastor Osibanjo, Professor Osibanjo, ordered the oil companies to relocate to their headquarters. If these oil companies that are enjoying in Lagos enjoy fresh breath air, they gas flare us. Gas them. If they move their headquarters to the Niger, will they still flare gas? Because the gas will torment them and they'll say, yeah, so this is how this gas is. They will suffer of disease, lungs and other disease. They will stop it.
The resolution of the conflict surrounding the licensing of OML 25 in favor of Belema Community and Belema Oil and the anticipated renewal of oil licenses next year offers the government a window of opportunity to increase the participation of Niger Deltans in the oil and gas industry.
This is an opportunity for federal government. So see how they can favor the people here in order to reduce tension. But look at, this flow station, we are giving it, to your person, somebody from the area. And you and I know that we've heard stories, we have also read on what the Belema, the owner of Belema Oil is doing in some of the areas is, operating in terms of social, corporate responsibility. So it means that if you give him, this flow station to manage, and he is from this place, he's going to not only manage it to make profit, he's also going to manage it properly, to better the lives of, his people.
The government of President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to come up with a policy that favors Niger Delta investors in the next round of oil license awards. And as Chief Edwin Clark has demanded, they should be given the right of first refusal in the renewal and award of new oil licenses in 2019.